Welcome back to the Team to Beat Miami Heat podcast, your one-stop shop for daily Miami Heat content. Pushing to 2,000 subscribers, so if you guys do enjoy the content or if you're new here, please hit the subscribe button. It would mean a lot to me. So for today's episode, I want to talk about Kendrick Perkins. He was on ESPN's First Take. He was talking about NBA rivalries in the NBA currently, and he mentioned that he thinks that the biggest NBA rivalry today is between the Miami Heat and the Boston Celtics. So let me play a clip for you guys real quick so you can hear what he said.
I gotta go with the Miami Heat and the Boston Celtics. When you think about two teams in the Eastern Conference, they don't like each other. When you think about their history and matching up in the conference finals, right? Like every single time they have to go through each other, at some point. And Jimmy Butler playoff Jimmy became a real thing during this matchup while he's in the Heat jersey. I think this is the biggest rivalry in the NBA. I love it every time they match up, and we know it's going to be some smoke, especially when Jimmy is available. I got to go.
So that's the biggest aspect, Jimmy being available, playoff Jimmy being activated. We all know that the Celtics beat us 4-1 in the playoffs last season, but Terry Rozier missed the entire series. Jimmy Butler missed the entire series. Duncan Robinson was injured with that back injury. He played 5 minutes in one game, only 10 minutes in another game. So he was basically non-existent. So I agree with Perk. I think this is one of the biggest rivalries, at least in the Eastern Conference, at least for the past 4 to 5 seasons. I mean, Jimmy Butler's been on the Miami Heat since 2019, and they've played each other in the Eastern Conference finals 3 times in those 5 years. So the first time they played in the Jimmy era build was during the bubble in 2020, and the Miami Heat were able to beat the Boston Celtics 4-2, and they had a rematch in 2022 Eastern Conference Finals. Celtics narrowly beat the Miami Heat when the Miami Heat were the number 1 seed in Miami in 7 games. We all know Jimmy Butler missed that 3 to potentially win the series for the Miami Heat. And in 2023, the Cinderella run for the Miami Heat, which didn't end in a championship, unfortunately, but the Heat did make it to the finals. We beat the Celtics in 7 games after the Heat were up 3-0, and Celtics tied it 3 games apiece. And luckily, the Miami Heat are not the first team in NBA history who blew a 3-0 lead. Thank heavens for that. So, and then last season, like I mentioned, 2024, Celtics beat the Miami Heat 4-1. The only game the Miami Heat won was a game where the Miami Heat shot lights out from 3, and they hit an NBA or a Miami Heat playoff record for most threes. It was like 21 or 22 or 23 threes in that game, which was just absolutely wild. So the Miami Heat, this is an interesting stat right here too. So the Miami Heat and the Boston Celtics head to head in the playoffs, they've played 42 total games. You know what the record is? 21-21. So we are dead even with the Boston Celtics. If we look back at the last time or the first time we played them in the playoffs was 2010. They beat us 4-1. That was when Dwayne Wade had basically like Jermaine O'Neal, like Sean Marion, and a bunch of rejects. Like he had Quentin Richardson, I believe. Can't remember exactly who that was, who else was on that team, but I remember Dwayne Wade had to score like 40 something points to get that one victory, so it wasn't a sweep. Then they had the rematch in 2011. This is when the Miami Heat got LeBron and Chris Bosh, and they won 4-1. And then in 2012, they also beat the Celtics in the Eastern Conference Finals 4-3. So yeah, there's a history between us, and we've gone to a lot of Game Sevens in the Eastern Finals, and the Miami Heat have won more of those Eastern Conference matchups, but overall 41-41. So I'm interested to see how the Miami Heat can bounce back next season and compete. We'll see what happens. I mean, health is wealth for the Miami Heat and for the NBA, and we're never healthy, so it's a big if. And if the Miami Heat are healthy, though, I think with adding Khalil Ware, adding Kishad Johnson, adding Pele Larson, adding Alec Burks, and then having potentially Jimmy and Tyler Hero healthy, and Terry Rozier healthy and Duncan Robinson healthy, and with the growth and development of Jovic perhaps and Hawkes, this Miami Heat team has depth. Jay Rich was injured as well last year, of course, so we need him, off the bench, a veteran who could score and play defense. So a lot of things have to go right for us to compete with the Celtics. I don't think on paper we're a better team than the Celtics, but do we have a fighter's chance against them? I think so in the playoffs. If we play against them healthy, I mean, if we had Jimmy, Terry, and a healthy Duncan in that first round, that's a different story. You saw what Jimmy Butler looked like against not the Celtics, the Sixers in that playing game before he hurt his MCL. He was dominating. He was crushing it. He had like 13 or 14 points, like 3 steals, 3-4 rebounds. Like he was engaged, he was locked in, and he was saving everything for the playoffs. So we can compete with the Celtics head to head in the playoffs, but in the regular season, they're going to dust us. They're the best team in the NBA. They were last year, had the best record, best team in the East, and obviously proved they were the best team overall. They won a championship. So it's going to be interesting to see if they can repeat next year. They seem to be the favorite next year. They brought back everybody. So they'll be going in to the season with their championship roster after extending players and re-signing players too. So they're going to be tough. They're going to be a juggernaut, but let's see what this Miami Heat can do when healthy. So that's a big if. But anyway, thanks for watching, and don't forget to subscribe.